Welcome to Diligent Canine, and in this reflection video, I'm going to talk about expectations in dog training, or rather just life with the dog in general. And I recently posted a video about dog selection, or rather things to consider before you adopt or buy a dog from a breeder. And obviously, what you want to do with the dog, or what you want the dog to do with you, is going to have a pretty large impact on that. There was a story video posted from Dave at Canine Karma talking about people's expectations for their dogs and setting the bar really, really low. And that kind of inspired me to post a video about this myself and talk about how my view on what I expect from and what I want from and with my dog has changed. So this has been covered by a few other people as well. I think there's a Michael Ellis video out there where he talks about different drives of dogs, and of course we know that that can make a huge difference in what type of dog you get and what your lifestyle is like. But what's more is that both of the perspectives he presents are totally valid. So on the one hand, some people might be very satisfied having a super calm, chill dog that doesn't ever really get worked up or excited about things, doesn't really get scared either. It just stays pretty neutral and pretty calm all the time, and it's their Netflix buddy. That's awesome. I like to Netflix and chill with my dog too. But some people, that's the extent of their expectations, so for them, that's great. Their dog meets their needs. On the other hand, in, say, the sporting world, specifically protection sports, those dogs are super, super high drive, and they need to be almost like manically crazy to have the sort of drive and enthusiasm to do the crazy things that are going to be asked for them in sport, because that is extended so far beyond the daily reach of like what a dog would do if it was just a house pet. If it was just hanging around your house, it really just needs to like sit and stay and come when you call. It doesn't need to climb an 8-foot palisade or retrieve a 5-pound dumbbell or chase down a criminal or attack a guy in a bite suit or anything like that. So it's important to talk about the expectations that you have to do with your dog. And I considered protection sports when I was looking for a dog. So I was looking, for the Dutch Shepherd, Malinois, German Shepherd types of breeds. And I did end up rescuing a German Shepherd Malinois mix that was about I think Dean was about 2 years old when I rescued him about a year and a half ago. And so I was really looking at protection sports, and I started doing the obedience at home. I started doing, and still do, a lot of the foundation bite work myself. But then my goals started to shift a little bit. And that's the other thing I want to point out, is that your goals and expectations can change over time, and that's totally okay. In fact, it's a good thing to reevaluate and reassess so that you have an honest picture and an honest representation of where you're at with your dog, where your dog's at with you, and how your life is going together. So I wanted to start protection sports. And to a large degree, like I said, I still do the foundation bite work myself. And then I started to do more scent work, because what I found, even while I was reading through Jerry Bradshaw's Controlled Aggression book, was that I was pushing up against a barrier of what I could safely and realistically accomplish by myself. So obviously that's not a secret in protection sports. You will come up against a barrier where you need a decoy at some point. You cannot be both the handler and the decoy. You can't be the good guy that Doggo should always listen to and the bad guy that he is fighting against. It just doesn't work that way. And that's important for me to realize. So what kind of training options are out there? Well, In the area that I live, which is outside of Atlanta, there are some sporting organizations. There are a few Schutzhund organizations. I'm not aware of any PSA organizations, which I really love the idea of, by the way. So if I had to pick a dog sport that I wanted to participate in, initially that would have been Schutzhund or IPO, or I think they call it something else these days. But the more I read and learned and watched about PSA, Protection Sports Association, I thought that was super cool just to have all those obstacles and just the variety of preparedness with a dog. So there aren't a lot of PSA training clubs around. There are some protection dog agencies. I'm not saying that. A Red Canine I've heard is really good. Patriot Canine is very good. But the other thing I had to consider is, what is my personal life like, and do I have time, do I have the resources, so namely time and money, to provide that training for my dog? So the answer for me was no, not right now, not at this stage in my life. So there's some reasons for that, and what that looks like is I recently started training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu again. So that is something that's really important to me. It's something I really enjoy, and I really miss having not trained it for over 5 years and just starting again this past January in 2019. So there isn't space in my daily schedule, at least now, because I'm doing things that are more important to me than training protection sports. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop training my dog. It means I'm going to reevaluate my expectations. So, of course, you can always make obedience better and better and better. That's an important thing to understand that some people don't get with their pet dogs comparing to sport dogs, is that for a sporting dog, obedience is never done. A dog is never trained, past tense. A dog is always in training. They're always in pursuit of one step better. And how can we polish this? Which, by the way, is not a bad idea at all for pet dog owners to maintain engagement with their dogs. So that's important to remember. You can, even if you don't have aspirations of competing in obedience or protection sports or agility or anything like that, you can constantly be polishing your obedience, increasing the level of distraction. And there's a lot of inspiration to be drawn from the sporting dog world as well as the working dog world, just in terms of learning how to engage and train your dog and really how to make them have a good life. So I hope that clarifies some things, or at least helps get your brain working about assessing and progressively and continually reassessing what your expectations are for your dog. Maybe don't set the bar so low. So pick something reasonable, do your homework, do your research, test it out, try it out, see and measure what works and maybe what didn't work so well, and then start the process over or go in a different direction. So be clear about your expectations for yourself and for your dog, and have a good life with your dog. Remember to subscribe on patreon.com/diligentcanine to support military and working dogs. Thanks for watching.